Hi everybody, my name is Jeremy Anneker. I am a Reiki master, healer, attitudinalist. I'm an energy worker that does sessions in person and online at a distance. I want to share with you some things about how intention and intuitive power works. Here we have a thermometer, a graphic, trying to represent the process that often happens when one is looking at themselves as energy and wants to answer their issues with intentional work that has to do with energy and consciousness attitude. So here at the bottom we have when someone's in the red, and that is a low state of energy. So when one is in a low state of energy or they're in dis-ease, we often speak to that as you could, in that environment, manifest a disease. There are a lot of things that are stress related, and stress is fear driven primarily. There's all these issues with stress, and it's a low energy pattern. When someone does a technique to relieve that, they commit with the idea that they're not helpless. They move out of the red and they pop into intentional power. So benefiting self with intention is done in all kinds of ways. Even conventional answers help people move out of the red, cross that line. For instance, someone feels helpless about being sick and they go to the doctor. They're just simply inclined to believe that their issues can be handled. They're not helpless. We have misfortune. So things can trigger fear, anxiety, despair, anger, etc. And these are low energy patterns. And while being human is a process, not easy, and we all fall into low spaces, staying there for too long can hurt the body energetically. It's thought forms that create low patterns and can hurt the body. So energetically, we can shift out of that with intention. So coming in for a Reiki treatment or signing up for an online interface where I do coaching and aura feedback, or there's many answers in the spiritual marketplace that people use. And that would be basically using intentional power. The shadow, I put that there, it's a very broad idea I wanted to bring up. So the shadow just basically is the part of us that is lost in shame, guilt, fear, apathy, greed, resentment, pride, just thought forms that create low energy patterns that we can stay stuck in. And so we can maybe sometimes not even want to move out of shadow stuff, and we may have challenges in facing our shadow, and it really helps to have a third party person and use them to move out of the red. So basically, intentional power is available when we act on a sense that we can do better. We can choose something better for ourselves when we maybe reach out, or we sit in meditation, or we do self-Reiki, or clear the meridians with tapping, energetic tapping. There's a lot of techniques for this territory I'm calling intuitive power. So this is a whole territory of techniques. I do Reiki, so it's a very simple technique, and it has intentional power in it. And just something to share that I'm very excited about is the progression, what the progression is to move up into a more pure intuition. I have a purple line here, and that is the line where linearity ends. So we can learn things in depth with details and a lot of techniques for various issues, which all has intentional power in it. The intuitive power is more available, the more we're kind of able to put the textbook aside, the learnedness and the systems aside, and trust intuition, the energies from these highest places in ourselves and from the universe. So this is a challenging topic to even bring up. And it's not to be brought up with an aversion to all the different things that people can do. With Reiki, it's got techniques in it. Reiki means universal life energy. Universal life energy is that which moves all things. It's the aliveness that's in our body. It's the aliveness that's in all of nature. It's animating all of life. And so Reiki as life force is just a term for a greater reality, a greater way of seeing and being with life, and it's also a word for that which we can draw on for our healing intentions. And when we're using Reiki or a lot of other techniques, the intuitive power is a gift. And there's some techniques out there to help amplify the energy and the increase of power I want to share with you. And I want you to listen to this very closely. It's about movement and trust, and it's about quality of consciousness. It's really not about this technique is more potent than the other. Some techniques have information in it that shares this progression, and others don't do that so much. That's why I want to do this video, so that if you have Reiki with an amplified teaching in it, like a focused method in it, maybe as an upgrade, it has intentional power. But be clear, the ultimate place to go with healing has to do with one's development in their consciousness. And it's less to do with the technique than you ever think. So that's where this line comes in. You move past, you put the modality aside, you put the textbooks aside, and you get okay with a nonlinear space. And it's very challenging for minds that are used to wanting to learn everything and have information for their intellects or for their understanding. So the intuitive aspect of intentional work is very challenging to discuss. This is a quick little intro to the territory I work in. So I practice and teach original Reiki and a contemporary method I often call no limit Reiki, where we relax about the traditional techniques and I sit in responsiveness to where the person's really at and develop things from that connection in the moment, from the intuitive intelligence that comes up from the life force, the supreme source, and staying affectionate for that is really where it's at. And so I want to, on one side, speak to the power of a simple technique like Reiki that's not so busy, so it invites more resting and trusting and allowing, where the energy goes to bigger spaces. I want to really invite that. And I also want to mention quickly that we want to not also be in battle about one technique versus the other, because it's all about, to me, eventually moving past that line where it's not about learning anymore, it's about trust, allowing that life force to run through, to access it through affection for the supreme source of life, and letting it do its work through us or with us. Thank you for listening to that. Check out other videos on YouTube. I'm about to do a basic intro to Reiki. Please feel free to contact me for individual sessions in person or online. I do intentional work online with aura feedback and energy work. Thanks for listening and have a great day.